I feel like deck profiles are a thing of the past. I mean, seriously, we're in 2019, ladies and gentlemen. People can look at deck profiles of topping lists almost immediately at the tip of their smartphones. Back in my day, you'd have to wait, go to home, go to a computer, and then wait for about a week, and then hopefully metagame.com would have it. With that being said, the same formula hasn't changed. People still just put deck profiles in front of cameras and hope that you guys like it. That's not what we're going to be doing here. We're going to revolutionize deck profiles. Today, I'm not going to show you a deck profile. If you guys want to see the deck profile, it's just down below in the description. I'm going to be giving you guys a story, an explanation on why I play this certain Cyber Dragon deck. I'm TheCaliEffect, and if you guys want to see more videos like this, then make sure you destroy. I can't punch. It's just, I just can't. That subscribe button. But also, be sure to hit that notification bell because, well, we just too strong. So without further ado, I present to you Cyber Dragons Explained for the November 2019 format. A little bit of a backstory for Cyber Dragon, ladies and gentlemen. It was introduced in around 2006 with Cybernetic Revolution being the first set. Now, Cyber Dragon did dominate that format, but not as an archetype. It was a 2100 attack monster that can special summon itself, meaning that it was excellent fodder for Monarch monsters. It was also the strongest monster that you could just plop to your side of the field and dominate your opponent's opposing boards with. Cyber Dragon was also a light monster, meaning that it could be good chaos food for cards like Chaos Sorcerer and Blackluster Soldier. Fast forward to 2019, Cyber Dragon is similar to what it did before. It is still a fast-paced deck, but as opposed to breaking your opponent's boards through sheer attack, Cyber Dragon is primarily used to get rid of that opponent's extra monster, being able to summon Chimera Tech Mega Fleet Dragon with ease. Now, I'll get into that a little bit later, but I want to actually talk about the deck and its matchups. Against the meta, Cyber Dragon has some really good matchups. Solomon Great fears Cyber Dragons because Chimera Tech Mega Fleet is a thing. Being able to special summon a Cyber Dragon monster to your side of the field and rid their Sunlight Wolf before they get the opportunity to use their Solomon Great Roar can be pivotal. And if your opponent is setting Solomon Great Rage to their side of the field, they must preemptively use it to prevent Cyber Dragon from linking off their monsters. In the Orcus matchup, I just have to say, it's a really interesting matchup because all of the Orcus monsters are machines. So you can pretty much tag off their entire board for the summon of a Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon and be able to push with the rest of your combos. Sky Striker is a peculiar matchup as well because you can get rid of your Sky Striker extra deck monsters in your opponent's extra monster zone by either summoning Fortress Dragon or special summoning Mega Fleet, and you can prevent your opponent from special summoning Ray from the graveyard to their side of the field, mainly because it's sent to the graveyard due to game mechanics. Now, Cyber Dragon isn't all roses in every single matchup. The deck does struggle against back row heavy decks. Back row heavy decks that prevent the opponent from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Are what Cyber Dragon don't do well against because it can stymie the plays before it can get going. With that being said, Sky Striker is not the most favorable matchup because it does have some of those back row heavy cards, but there's always ways around it. Cyber Dragon is still a really powerful deck, so let me actually start talking about why I play certain cards. Starting off with the Cyber Dragon monsters, it's a pretty standard lineup, playing almost all of the Cyber Dragon cards you would expect in a basic Cyber Dragon deck. Now, there has been a trend of players playing one Cyber Dragon and playing a going first build. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do respect its existence. The reason why I play 3 copies of Cyber Dragon is just going back into that Solomon Great matchup. The opponent wants to use cards like Solomon Great Rage to destroy your Cyber Dragon, and if you take away your free special summons, then, well, you're in a pretty bad spot. I don't mind sacrificing that I'll have a dead Cyber Dragon in my hand if I ever do, if I ever am forced to go first, because I can always make it worth the time. I think the interesting thing is that I do play 2 Nachster instead of 3. Some players play 1. Nachster is a really good card. It can special summon monsters with 2100 attack or defense to your side of the field, which we really use for some spicy plays. Being able to bring back your Cyber Dragon Infinity to be able to snatch your opponent's monsters, but also being able to bring back your Dengirsu was just too strong to ignore. Cyber Dragon Vier has quite a few interesting situations. I could actually Exceed summon into my Dengirsu without the usage of level 8 monsters. and that's because I play the super secret spicy tech that I mentioned in my budget video. Now, if you guys are on a budget, then I strongly recommend that you guys check that video out. This video in particular is not for budget players. We're going to be playing Cyber Dragon at its strongest potential. Moving on, only 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. This was a card I wanted to play 3 of, but just didn't have the room. The main thing I want to stress about in this particular profile is the lack of hand traps. Infinite Impermanence and DD Crow are the only hand traps that I decided to roll with, and DD Crow is only there because it's just stupid powerful inside of this format. Normally, I think that hand traps are a waste, but DD Crow does get rid of your opponent's pivotal cards in the graveyard, and it doesn't have to be monsters, it can be spells or traps. So I feel that it warrants a spot, especially since I am still playing Chaos Dragon Levioneer. Levioneer is just insane. It's a level 8 monster, destroys cards on your opponent's side of the field. It helps you progress for game, but even more importantly, it is a big body that your opponent has to respect. Gizmek is just, wow, I wasn't expecting this card to be really good. I was actually playtesting the other Gizmek before I got to this one, and it helps you push for those game situations, providing itself with a free monster that your opponent has to respect, 2450 attack, 2450 defense that you can just splash on either player's turn. And some players might be wary of the banish 8 cards from the top of your deck, but once you get this Cyber Dragon deck going, it doesn't matter. The secret tech that we are going to be discussing is Infinite Track Anchor Drill, and this is why I feel that Cyber Dragon has going first plays. I mean, I don't really care about Nibiru. I like to say if my opponent is main decking Nibiru and I happen to go first, well, you better have it. I'm not going to prepare for something that may or may not exist. I'm going to prepare for what the deck can do best. Infinite Track Anchor Drill gives me access to True King of all Calamities. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Moving forward towards the spells, I wanted to address the back row issue that the deck does have, so 2 Twin Twisters have to go in, but everything else from there is pretty standard. Something I do want to talk about is the use of Cyber Revsystem. This is a card I actually wanted to play multiple copies because in this particular build, it's extremely important. Being able to get that additional Cyber Dragon monster to your side of the field and use its abilities, or being able to have an extra body for your Exceed plays, is too strong, ladies and gentlemen. I think that it's a lovely addition, but unfortunately I didn't have the space for multiple copies. Cyber Repair Plan is a card that has been debated upon for a long time as if you should play more than 1 copy. I think in this day and age, especially since Solomon Great Almirage does exist, it's very safe to play 2 copies but not 3. The reason why you don't want to play 3 copies is because you don't want to see this card in your hand in doubles. Like, that's like trash. And while you can completely eliminate that situation by only playing 1 copy, there are plenty of times that Cyber Repair Plan can just be the card that you need to get to your hand to search that critical light monster so you can push for additional damage or have that extra play. Now, my only beef with the spell card lineup is Overload Fusion / Cyberload Fusion. I am not a huge fan of Overload Fusion. I'm actually a huge fan of Cyberload Fusion, but it's dead a lot. Cyberload Fusion is one of those cards that you kind of need cards like Overload Fusion to get it popping, and if it doesn't get it popping, then yeah, you're in a pretty tight spot. But ultimately, those are your game time situation cards. Amazing going second cards, pretty decent going first cards, because in this particular deck, providing an additional level 5 monster can be really good for our plays. And then finishing up to the trap lineup, only 1 copy of Cybernetic Overload. This card's amazing, but I don't think that I need more than 1 in this going first or second deck. And then 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence for whatever situation may be it. If my opponent forces me to go first, well, I have a good negation trap card. And if I'm going second, I have one of the most powerful cards that can't be disrupted in the Yu-Gi-Oh card game going second. My extra deck, I want it to be quick, concise, and I also wanted to control the board. With that being said, only 1 copy of Cyber Dragon Infinity and Cyber Dragon Nova, and that was probably the biggest change for Cyber Dragons for me. You'll only summon this card once, so it was definitely an interesting thing to do. In place of the Infinity and Nova, I am running a River Stormer and a Constellar Pleiades. Now, the reason why I'm running these 2 cards in their place is because Pleiades is just a great generic level rank 5 monster that has excellent disruption, and River Stormer is a part of the combo that allows me to True King Calamities the opponent. Of course, we finish off with the True King Calamities. There are times where you can wind up with a True King Calamities and Cyber Dragon Infinity going first, which means if you do, your opponent probably won't win that game. Now, regardless what happens in game 1, I have a backup plan for game 2. Almost always, if you are playing Cyber Dragon, your opponent will tell you to go first. I want to make sure that is a mistake, because if I didn't already go first in True King of All Calamities, my opponent, I have some really spicy trap cards to prevent them from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In our very first iteration of the deck, our live duel had us playing artifacts inside of the main board. I thought that that was extremely powerful because Cyberload Fusion allows me to summon Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon on the opponent's turn if I did brick those artifact monsters, and it can destroy my face down artifacts, triggering their effects. But regardless, being able to artifact scythe your opponent is amazing. It's almost a win-free moment, especially if you can back it up with a Cyber Dragon Infinity, meaning that your monster will almost be able to trigger freely. That is seriously a win condition. We pair it up with cards like Trap Trick and other trap cards, and that's pretty much it for the extra deck. Everything else is pretty much standard. Nibiru does come in, but I really wanted to be prepared for going first. If my opponent forces me to go first and already is expecting the True King of All Calamities, that's when I hit him with the artifacts. One more thing I do want to mention about the artifact monsters is that they are level 5 light monsters, which does come in handy for when you're trying to summon Constellar Pleiades as a follow-up play. I think that Cyber Dragon is one of the better decks going first and going second if you build it right, and this side deck pretty much complements being able to go first or going second on a dime. Now, I know you guys are here to learn about some of the combos. Cyber Dragon is amazing. I'm going to be showing you guys a 2-card combo that basically gets you into a True King of All Calamities. As you guys can see, the combo is really easy to do and doesn't really require much. Machine Duplication plus a Cyber Dragon core is the best way to do it, but there are other combinations of cards for you to be able to finish it off. The next combo following up is going to be an extended combo. You'll also be able to pair it up with a Cyber Dragon Infinity as well. People should already know True King of All Calamities is no joke. It is an instant win condition against some of the better decks of the format. But this time around, we're going to pair it with a Cyber Dragon Infinity to make sure our True King of All Calamities does go off. Cyber Dragon is just one of those excellent decks that has an amazing going first board. You just have to build the deck to be ready for it. I'm not saying that Cyber Dragon is a meta deck. It's nowhere near tier 1 if you ask me, but it is a very, very solid tier 2 deck that should be seeing more YCS tops. Thank you guys so much for watching another segment of the TheCaliEffect. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and give it a like. And to be honest with you guys, this is our first time doing it, so if you have any improvements, go ahead and tell us what we could do to improve down below in the comment section. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy. I hope you guys are having a great day, like I am.